right, well, I think we'll get started then. A lot of you already know me. I'm Kristi Zweifel. I'm the dietitian here at the hospital. I've been the dietitian here for about 14 years. So today we're going to talk about a plant-based diet. I just thought it's perfect timing because it's the first of the year, January. What do we usually do in January but set resolutions? And a lot of times those resolutions revolve around eating a little bit healthier. And unfortunately, this time of year, the end of January, is when most people just throw those resolutions right out the window because we're tired of doing the things that we said we were going to do. So I thought, talking about a plant-based diet, that way we're going to talk about things that we can eat more of and not focus so much on the foods that we want to restrict. We're always talking about eating less sugar, less salt, less fat, but today I thought we would talk about eating more fruits and vegetables. So starting out, eating 30 different plants a week challenge. That sounds like a lot, but we're going to show you how to embrace that and actually do that yourself. It's not necessary for a person to be a vegetarian or vegan to follow something like this. You can also eat meat along with the vegetables. But I will say, by eating all those fruits and vegetables and plant-based foods, you get filled up a little bit more, so you don't eat as much from the foods that we're not wanting to eat very much of. So why eat plant foods? It boosts your immune system. It reduces inflammation, helps you maintain a healthy weight, increases fiber, and about 90% of Americans don't get enough fiber in their diet. We're supposed to have about 25 to 38 grams a day, and most of us don't get that much. Also lowers your cancer risk, among other chronic illnesses. So why 30 plants? The concept actually originated from the American Gut Project, and that was a study that was done back in 2012. They did their published report actually in 2018. It was out of California. I think it was the University of California Medical School. And they got over 11,000 participants. They would send out kind of like a questionnaire for people to fill out so they could write down what they were eating in the last 90 days. They also talked about, what kind of illnesses that person had, what kind of medications they were on, and they also sent in a poop sample. So that's how they basically looked at that gut health, is to look at that sample, and then they compared it to what people were eating. And so that's where they came up with the 30 plants a day. People that ate less than that, 10 or fewer, they didn't have as good of a gut health as ones that were eating 30 or more. So again, it's linked to diversity, it's linked to the better immunity, digestion, and mood. So that's why we would have to have a good variety of those fruits and vegetables. So benefits of eating 30 plants a day: gut health, like we talked about. A wide array of plant fibers support gut microbes, leading to richer and better digestion. And of course, disease prevention. We talk about heart disease, cancers, diabetes, weight. All those things now are linked to gut health. And of course, nutrient boost. By eating all those fruits and vegetables, obviously we're going to get more vitamin C and vitamin A, antioxidants, minerals, vitamins, the phytonutrients. So what is a plant point? Because I've had lots of questions from staff saying, what plants am I supposed to be eating? And of course they're thinking grass, dandelions. I've heard a lot of different things, but no, it's basically just things that we're already eating: fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds. So a plant point is a unit they use to measure the dietary diversity with a goal of 30 plant points a week. You probably have heard a lot of people, whoops, a little behind there. You probably have heard a lot of people say eat 5 a day, the rule 5 a day, and that's more based on portions. This is based on different types of foods, so it makes it a little bit easier. We're not having to measure things out. We basically just count the items that we are eating. So Plant Points prioritizes variety and the unique plant-based foods, and that improves the gut diversity. So again, it's more the diversity over the quantity, and variety matters. So for instance, different colors. I think of like different colors of apples. So a red apple and a green apple, that would be 2 points. But if you ate 2 bananas, that would just be 1 point. So sometimes you just have to kind of think about the things that you're eating and maybe try to have a little bit better variety. All forms and preparations count. So all fresh and frozen, canned, dried plants, they all count towards that total points. The exception would be processed foods. So we want less processed foods, less refined plants like white bread, white rice, white pasta. Those are typically, they don't count. Those are zeros because they kind of strip away the fiber and the nutrients from those foods. So we'd rather them have more whole foods and less of the processed foods. And dark chocolate. Everybody always lights up when I say you can count chocolate. But unfortunately, it's the real dark chocolate, the one that has the 70% cocoa or higher, which I don't know if any of you have tried that, but it's real bitter tasting. So, you know, the enjoyable Dove chocolate and Hershey's chocolate that we're used to, even if you pick the dark, that's usually like 45 to 60%. So we're talking about 70% and higher. Those are the ones that are going to have more antioxidants and being healthier for you. But those do count as a point. And then, I don't know if you can see this picture very well, but it gives some guidelines about different things that you can count. So, of course, beans. So, pulses and legumes. And a lot of times people ask me, well, what are pulses? It's basically just a different form of legumes. So, like chickpeas, black beans, kidney beans, all those things count. Legumes are also, you can count peanuts and legumes, green beans, all those count as a point. The next one is nuts and seeds, and there is a little typo in there. It says 1 plant point per nut or seed. Well, sorry guys. You can't just have a whole stack of sesame seeds and call her good. So, but if you had some, like today we're having a fruit parfait, and we included some seeds that you could put on the top of that. So you can count each one of the different kinds of seeds that are in that recipe. And then whole grains, of course. So we can't count, like I said, the white bread and the white rice, but you can count whole wheat bread, and you can count brown rice or whole wheat pasta. And of course now there's tons of pastas out there to pick from, pasta that's made from chickpeas or ones that have extra protein in it. So as long as they're a whole grain, you can count them. But the regular white pasta, we don't count. And then, of course, fruits and vegetables. And there's lots and lots of different kinds of fruits and vegetables to pick from there. So each one of those would count as 1 point. Herbs and spices. So, of course, we're always pushing that we want you to follow a lower sodium diet. We'd rather you have more herbs in your diet than salt to season your foods. So those only count as a quarter. But it does add up, especially if you're using little combinations of different kinds of spices. That can really add up fast. And in that is coffee. Looks like we got somebody else coming. Come on in. You can go to the end there. There's a fruit parfait you can make. But then I have a list there. So when it comes to whole grains, we mentioned the bread, but also things like quinoa. We have some legumes mentioned there, nuts like almonds and walnuts, seeds like chia seeds, flaxseed, pumpkin seeds. We mentioned the chocolate popcorn. I put plain popcorn on there because that's a little bit healthier. You know, if you air pop it, it's going to have less fat in it and less sodium. But it still counts because it's still plant. So, and the extra virgin oil, olive oil, that counts too. And I do have half a point for powdered whole foods. So what comes to mind for me is like a vegetable stock that you would use instead of like maybe a bouillon cube for chicken or beef. They have vegetable ones. That would actually count because it's just dehydrated vegetables. Or if you had like a green drink, you know, now you're seeing a lot of supplements out there that they're dehydrated vegetables. You just add it to water or something else. That would actually count too. Now, if the first 3 ingredients aren't actual vegetables, then no, it wouldn't count.
Matcha powder?
I don't know, I'd have to look at that, but yes, if the first three ingredients are a vegetable or a fruit, then it would count. Yeah, so you have to look at the ingredients on that and see. Yeah. And like your beets that you mentioned, your beet drink, that would count too. And then again, another list here, fruits and vegetables, so, apples and blueberries and cabbage, lemons, mushrooms, the list goes on and on. Whole grains, nuts and seeds, legumes. And beans, we're encouraging meatless meals, maybe at least once a week, just so we can cut back on some of the red meat. We live in Iowa, obviously, so we are going to be eating more red meat, but maybe once a week, try to plan for our meatless meals using beans. Throw them in a salad or a casserole or a soup or a stew. Herbs and spices, nice long list there, and that list could go on and on. So, again, the refined plants, the white bread, the white rice, fruit juice, those don't count. When we're drinking fruit juice, there's not a lot of fiber in that, and again, they're getting rid of some of the nutrients from the juice. So we much rather you have a whole orange than we would a glass of juice. So, and really, if you drink juice at all, they say no more than about 4 to 6 ounces a day at the most. Over-processing, so that gets rid of a lot of the nutrients too when you're processing things. And not that you have to eat all whole foods, but try to make maybe the majority of your foods be whole foods. The less processed, the better. So here's some meal ideas I wrote down. So like in the morning, eating oatmeal, whether it's quick oats or it's oatmeal, hot oatmeal, there's really easy ways that you can add points to that. Maybe slice a banana on it, or add some blueberries, maybe a little bit of cinnamon, some chia seeds or flaxseed or whatever you like. And then maybe have a side of a little coffee. Now they're saying coffee and in moderation is good for us. 2 to 3 cups a day is good. The caffeine's good. So, but that would be 1/4 of a point. So we're already up to 4.5 with our morning meal. Or maybe some people like smoothies. And there's lots of different combinations of smoothies that you can make. I just put maybe some spinach, some kale, some pineapples, mango, kiwi, flaxseed, and you're already at 4.25. Lunch, salads. That's a really easy way of getting lots of points in. Just by using a mixed green instead of just one leafy green, like just spinach or just like leaf lettuce, have a mixture of different kinds of greens. And of course, adding grains to it, beans, nuts, seeds. I know I went to Panera Bread yesterday with my daughter, and I ate the Harvest Medley salad. That was really good. But that salad alone was like 9 points. So it adds up quick because they had pecans in it, had some seeds in it, mandarin oranges, kind of drawing a blank of other things. But of course, they had the leafy greens and yeah, so anyway, it's easy to find. Supper, tacos, that's usually a hit with everybody to have taco night. So maybe try a whole wheat tortilla shell. Add some black beans or pinto beans. I know when I go to Panera Bread, I get both kinds of beans, but I tell them usually have half of each, so I don't want tons of beans, but but that way you get a variety. You get both kinds. Add some mushrooms to it, onions, shredded lettuce, diced tomatoes. You're already up to 7 points. We have a snack here of that fruit parfait. We have the berries, the 2 different kinds of berries. We meant to have raspberries, but they didn't have any at the grocery store, so that would have been 3 points just there if we had all 3 different kinds of berries. This one has chia seeds, but the one we had today, I did give you a recipe card with the different seed mixtures. And these were really easy to do, and of course you can vary them however you like. Some people like different kinds of seeds, but the one that really goes with the fruit parfait is the sweet one, of course. So that has the chia seeds and sesame seeds, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, almonds. Brown sugar, if you're trying to cut back on added sugar, you could always use the Splenda brown sugar for that. So that would cut back on calories and added sugar. Same way with the maple syrup. I did use the real maple syrup because that's what the recipe called for, but I've been known to use sugar-free pancake syrup in replace of that. So get one way of cutting back the added sugar that way. And the fat you could substitute for something different too. I didn't want to screw it up, so I went ahead and used coconut oil, but you don't have to use coconut oil. You could use whatever you have at home, if it's olive oil or whatever you have. And then, of course, a little bit of cinnamon. Gave it kind of a nice flavor. So you basically just add those things together and put it on a cookie sheet. You can use parchment paper, or I have those silicone mats. That's what I put mine on. And then you just bake it at 275 for about 12 minutes. And then I kind of stirred it around a little bit halfway through. So, and then just lay it out to cool for a little bit, and then I just put it in a mason jar with a lid on it. It lasts quite a while in that jar that way. So, and maybe just starting out with just a teaspoon at a time, adding it to something so it's not as overwhelming, you know, because you're not used to using that. It might be like, oh boy, I don't know if I like this. But if you just start slow, and same with tolerance too. Everybody has different issues, medical issues. You know, if you have colitis or you know, some other GI issues, maybe you don't tolerate nuts and seeds as well as, you know, an average person does. So again, take it slow. Maybe just have a small amount. Now research says that those things aren't totally off the table. Everybody's so individualized. You almost have to kind of see what you tolerate when it comes to nuts, seeds, and hulls. So hopefully you enjoy those recipes. The other one was a savory sprinkle, and that one just basically had soy sauce, olive oil, and then a few of the seeds in it. So it had a little bit different taste. I think I would put that like on a stir fry or maybe a casserole. So, all right, so those are some ways to include seeds into your diet. Shopping strategies, again, buying things that are mixed. So mixed bags of greens, frozen fruit. Instead of just getting frozen strawberries, get mixed fruit, mixed vegetables, embracing beans. Trying to get canned beans that have several different kind of beans in it. Shop by color. You know, we're always saying eat by the rainbow, trying to have a rainbow of colors. Well, that's why, because all those different foods, all those different colors, they have different phytonutrients in it, different antioxidants. And also, you know, the microbes that are in our intestine, they like to eat different things. And so we want to keep them happy and keep them healthy. And so by eating a good variety, that's what makes your gut healthy. Have the rule of one new thing a week. You know, trying a new fruit or vegetable every week. Go into the grocery store and see, now, have I ever tried this? You know, maybe it's pomegranates, maybe it's a mango. But try new things. And then meal preparation hacks. We talked about the seed mixture already. Also pumping up the flavor in some of your favorites, like maybe add some beans to a pasta sauce, or chopping up mushrooms really fine and put them into a ground beef mixture, or toss a few vegetables into you know, whatever you're making. I know with the sauces that I make, sometimes I might throw some spinach or different vegetables in there just to give it some more nutrients and different variety. Supercharge your smoothies. We kind of already talked about that too, just mixing it up a little bit by what you put in your smoothie. Utilizing those herbs and spices, because again, they count. And then just simple food swaps, you know, like the whole wheat thing. Instead of the white rice, do the brown rice. Whole wheat bread instead of white bread. Whole wheat pasta. Try quinoa. And then plant-based snacks. Maybe some apple slices with some peanut butter, raw vegetables with hummus. And maybe even swapping your butter for something plant-based, like maybe the extra virgin olive oil or avocados or nut butter on your toast or when you're cooking. And then some more tips, topping the seeds, even nuts and walnuts, hemp seed, flaxseed, preparing things ahead of time, do meal planning. I know that really helps me a lot, especially when I'm grocery shopping. If I know what I'm going to eat for the week, then I know what to buy at the grocery store. I don't buy a lot of extra things that way, and if it's, especially with working all day, when I go home, if something's sitting in the refrigerator about, you know, ready to go, then I don't order pizza or do something, that's not as good for you. So meal planning, I think, is really a important thing. Like I said, challenge yourself to a new veggie in your diet every week. And rotate the base. Sometimes people get stuck on just eating rice or potatoes, but try to mix it up. Try to do maybe some unique things that you're not used to. So, of course, when I read about this, I thought, no problem. I eat lots of fruits and vegetables, and I eat whole grains. I really do try to practice what I preach. Of course, I like all the bad things too, but I eat a lot of good things. So I kept track of what I ate for a week. And I was disappointed. I thought, I only got 25 and a half. But now when I look at it, actually, I don't think I gave myself credit for a couple of the things that I ate. But, I snack on grapes a lot of times in the afternoon, so I wrote that down. One thing I do in the morning is, especially on weekends, I'll saute a bunch of different kinds of vegetables. And then I'll put it in my omelet in the weekend, but then I might throw them in different things, like a quesadilla or something else that I'm eating. So there's like 3 or 4 points right there, which is that mixture. So I added green peppers and onions and mushrooms and spinach to that. I had broccoli with another casserole that I ate. I make it's kind of like a healthy cheesecake with yogurt, but the topping is cherries. So I count that. What's that?
She said there's a healthy cheesecake?
You bet. Yeah, and the recipe is actually on our website.
It is?
Yes, it's just basically a zero cheesecake mix, and then you use non-fat Greek yogurt. You mix that together with just a little bit of whatever kind of milk you want. So that's the base, and then I buy sugar-free cherry pie filling and put that on the top. Chef's kiss. It's really good. Plus, from the yogurt, you get probiotics and calcium or protein. So anyway, getting back to this. Blueberries, sometimes in the morning I'll make kind of like a healthy pancake with the high protein mix with blueberries. So that's where I got that. My quinoa salad, I'm sure you probably have heard me say that a time or two, but that's on our website too. That's my go-to. I eat that every other week. I make that and bring it to work for lunch. But that has pistachios in it, red onions, cucumbers, mint, parsley, quinoa, and chickpeas. And then I usually have a banana every day in the morning. Cauliflower, I had that with something. I can't remember what now. And I had a salad. I do cauliflower and leaf lettuce and tuna. Raspberries. Popcorn for a snack. Raisins, I actually have Raisin Bran, so I could have counted that for 2. I didn't count the bran flakes. Cranberries, we had dried cranberries in something. Carrots for a snack, kiwi for a snack. And then I had a dip, like a Mexican dip that had kidney beans, corn, and jalapenos in it. So that was that. So then the next week, I tried a little harder. And I purposely try to do, a red onion and a white onion, because that counts as 2. And I try to throw some seeds in there. I made another salad that had seeds in it, sesame seeds, and it had cabbage, and it had red cabbage, and so all those things count. And it might seem real small, but you can still count it. Well, there I've counted my bran flakes, I guess, the second time around. I got smart about that then. I was going to give myself credit for the bran flakes. And we are creatures of habit. We tend to eat similar foods over and over again. So I think you have to start with what you're already doing and just make small changes to help improve what you're currently doing. And I'm sure all of you have heard that now we have new dietary guidelines for Americans. Those just came out this month. So we started out with the food pyramid years ago, and then it went to the my food plate, and now we're back to the pyramid, but it's upside down. But a lot of the same messages basically want us to eat more real food, and that's what this is all about. Plant-based food is real food. Prioritize your diet built on whole, nutrient-dense foods, protein, dairy, vegetables, fruit, healthy fats, whole grains, less high-processed foods. We want to do more whole grains and less refried carbohydrates. We want to watch the added sugar, the excess sodium. We want to have more healthy fats, less chemicals and additives to our food. So of course, I'm going to have to throw that in sometime during the presentation, even though at the beginning of the presentation I said we weren't going to talk about that. But they even mention in the guidelines, though, they talk about gut health. So, our guts are made of trillions of bacteria, those microorganisms, and it's bacteria, it's fungi, it's lots of things in our intestines that make it healthy. And so we need to feed those those microbials. So a healthy diet supports that well balance and healthy digestion. The high processed foods do just the opposite. They disrupt that balance. So it's important for us to eat fruits and vegetables and fermented foods. So they talk about sauerkraut, kimchi. Kimchi. Yeah, you would know. Isn't it basically fermented vegetables? Is that what you call it?
Yeah, the napa cabbage, make it
Yes.
napa cabbage.
Yeah. And salt. And what else do they add to it?
Red crushed pepper, garlic, green onion,
Yeah.
Fish sauce.
Yes, fish sauce. There you go. So that's very good for gut health. That is.
Yeah, it's more sour, more fermented. It's actually better for the gut.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always want to call it kefir, but I think it's kefir. Yes.
Kefir.
And that is kind of like a drink. It's kind of like, to me, it's kind of like a liquid yogurt, basically. But that has lots of probiotics in it and things, and so that's good. It's fermented. And then miso, that is a Japanese paste, I believe. That's made out of soy. So that's also a good, healthy gut food. So see, new things to try. And high fiber foods support, our gut health and good overall. We think of gut health as just being regular, not having constipation, having good bowel movements, but it's so much more than that now. It's linked to lots of different things. But, oh, there you go. There's your cabbage, yeah. It's not just the GI. It's the brain health. It's diabetes. It helps with our blood sugar. It helps with our cholesterol, our weight, all those things. So it's good to eat more fruits and vegetables. So final tips. It's never too late to start eating a little healthier. Try to be more mindful of the types of foods that you put in your body. Nobody's perfect. We all like the foods that aren't so healthy for us. We're human. But just make the majority of your food choices healthy choices. Pay attention to how food makes you feel. I know myself, if I eat really good during the week and then I fall off the wagon, and my daughter and I just went to a bakery yesterday, and I felt terrible after eating that. But boy, was it good going down. But sometimes you just have to think, no, I don't want to feel miserable with all that extra sugar, So sometimes we make better choices if we remember how we feel when we ate those foods. And keeping a food record, I think that's a real positive thing to help us improve our diets too, is just making a record of what we're eating. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think I covered just about everything. There is a worksheet that I gave you, so if you want to take it home and write down what you ate, for a week and see how you did, it's kind of an eye-opener. Does anybody have questions?
So it doesn't matter how much of any of these, just so
Right. Yeah, it's not about portion. It's just about, the variety.
It's really hard to say not to eat the white rice.
Oh, sure.
I grew up with the white rice.
Yes.
Breakfast, lunch, supper.
Yeah, I
Every
bet.
night.
Have you tried brown rice to see if you like that?
It's okay.
It's okay. Just
they're
not the same.
They're just not combined. Yeah.
Sure, sure. Yeah.
But there was somewhere that the white rice, after you make it, and then let it really, really cool it, and put them in the freezer in a small container, something about it reduce the glucose.
Carbohydrates.
Yes. So
Yeah.
By 30%.
yeah.
By freezing it?
Yeah.
Mhm. So actually better than you put them in the refrigerator and actually
Cool it
you get
down.
there it gets more sugar. I mean it's okay, but it'll stay there and then sometimes people leave it longer. That's not good because it makes more sugar.
Mm.
So you put them in the freezer and then anytime you want to eat it, you just take it out and put it in the microwave.
Well, there you
It'll
go.
have it for you.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. You're meal prepping.
Yeah.
Did everybody enjoy the seeds?
Thank you.
Good.
Yeah. So, how many seats was in there? I mean, like, how many?
The measurements are on the card there. You got a little card.
This one?
Yep. It'll tell you how to make it and the measurements that I used.
Okay.
Do you have a suggestion of kind of limits to like sweeteners that aren't sugar?
Artificial
That-
sweeteners?
Yeah, because we talk to a lot of patients
Mhm.
and they want to swap out juices for zero sugar. But,
Yeah.
the sugar alcohol, if you get too much of it and
Yeah, if it contains sugar alcohol. Sometimes they don't contain a sugar alcohol, so you really have to kind of look at the label.
Yeah.
But really, the artificial sweeteners are safe. I know you hear a different opinion about that from lots of different people, but the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, they support the use of artificial sweeteners. Yes, we're not encouraging people to go home and drink a 12-pack of Diet Coke a day, but if you're going to have a little bit of artificial sweetener in your yogurt, especially for people with diabetes, it helps them manage their blood sugar levels a little bit better if they can have those foods with artificial sweetener in. So yeah.
Have you ever used blue agave?
Blue? No.
Blue agave, yeah, that's a sweetener.
Yeah.
That's in there. It comes from a cactus plant.
I've used it, but not blue, I guess. Not the blue.
Well,
Oh,
they call it blue agave, but it's,
Oh.
you can also just get agave.
yeah, I've gotten the agave
But
before.
like honey, I use honey a lot for sweetener.
Yeah. Honey, even though it's natural, that's still a sugar. Your body treats it the same way it does sugar.
Trivia? Stevia?
Stevia, that's an artificial sweetener. Yeah, that'd be fine. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for coming.
We got a good group.